it's fun to be like in a
Oh,
director role now. Because like looking back, it's like crazy how you were doing that at such a young age where like I finally feel confident to do that now at like 28, 29, and like so many of the things that I do as a director now are things that I learned from you. You know what I mean? And I feel like I learned even more in my Sioux City stint than I did in my Omaha stint, just on like the type
absolutely. Yeah.
of program that I want to run. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I don't know, like you did a lot of things that were cool to me, you know what I mean? And it's like not stereotypical cool. Like you were always talking about redefining cool, and like that was, treating people with respect and working hard and like doing things together and traveling together and I don't know, it's such a social media world where cool is like it
Yeah.
is like the highlights, but it was not how we were doing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And
almost kind of like
it
being a
was,
punk, for lack of a better
yeah,
term, in a way.
yeah,
Like, talking smack or like doing dances and stuff, and it's just like that's
yeah,
not cool. Winning by 20 is cool because you whooped them, like,
yeah,
and doing things the right way. And like, you want to play college basketball, they don't care. They don't want cool dudes. They want winners.
yeah,
And I got to give her, that I think, my mom, she was big on two things, and she was like, humility was the first one. She always because like you said, man, I always had an answer for everything. Like that was my issue, and so my mom like, you gotta be humble, James. You gotta be humble, and she always used to tell me like, and this is something that's also really still resonates, and I pass along to a lot of our guys is like, everything that you need to know about being a good person, you learned it in kindergarten. Be nice, don't steal, include people, use manners, use the toilet to go to the bathroom. Like everything, it's like it's one of those
yeah,
things where that always stuck with me too because it kind of gave me my moral compass. And so the confidence
yeah,
I have to be able to go out, I think, and lead people comes from just knowing in my heart, like my moral compass. I know I've known what's right versus what's wrong. And have I always done right? No, but I know what's right. Right? You know what's right and what's right versus wrong. So having that and just knowing like always being able to go back to that, and that was the other thing like my mom would preach is like it's good to have that confidence of like knowing who you are and like not being ashamed, just knowing that there's right and there's wrong and there's on like that's it. There's no line in between and you got to pick and I think that's always been something for me, especially with who I chose my to surround myself with as a basketball player in high school and college and on AAU trips and stuff, like who I'm hanging out with, because I know like what they're doing is wrong. Okay, Jane, don't do it. Like that's it's like a little grass. And then, this okay, right? Yeah, down, wrong, don't do it. So that's kind of how I've always been with the, as a coach as well, because I think the way I try to treat like the be kind, I think is so important. So like the way I try to treat other people and form other relationships, I truly like leadership is it's great to be able to talk a good game and be able to articulate yourself, but true winning teams and like leadership comes from having like relationships with your guys. And I think that leadership is how they see you interact with them individually and also how they see you interact with other people. Like if you're checking into the hotel and using your manners and you're making them use their manners, like now it's kind of one of those things where it's a double-edged sword in a way, but that's you're for because these guys, I think, and that's how it comes to light too. On the other side of that is the people that want to align themselves with you are the people that you're kind to, and they see how you treat people and they see how, your relationship is with them. Like, do you take time to give to them? So I think, coaching for me, I always got along so great with my teammates. It was almost just like, I'm, 21 years old. So I'm drawing this line between figuring out how to draw this line between like 21-year-old guy they think they can maybe talk smack to versus like the coach they had to respect. And figuring out how to do that was great for me at 21 because my ego is so big in a way. I'm like, all right, I gotta be this way. But it's like, no, get to like be like, get to know them better, talk to them, personally connect with them, be kind to them, like treat them the way that you want. Like, and then once you form that relationship, well, now you can really coach this kid on the court because they
yeah.
know you got what's best for them in your heart, and that's really what comes down to like forming that relationship with the player. So, yeah, that's big with a lot of what I do coaching wise. Is just trying to make sure these guys. I know they're going to make mistakes in games, but are they going to acknowledge it? Are they going to be account? Are they going to be like doing the right things, right? Setting the boundaries. So
Yeah, I feel like that's such a key part of coaching. Like a lot of the like strength coaches that I observed early on, like it wasn't any sort of friendship or relationship. It was like I'm in charge and you're gonna do what I say, and like
I
Yeah.
thought just from watching that, like, okay, is this who I have to be? Because this doesn't feel right. And then I think it was Demarco on a podcast. He says like, no, it's okay to be friends with my guys. Like that's where that buy-in starts. But it's yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, also finding that line between friendship and accountability. And I totally relate to that. Like having to figure
Hmm.
that out at a young age is it's
Yeah.
hard, but it's part of that process. And I think you can be friends or at least
Yeah.
friendly with the people you're coaching. Like I think that's the foundation
Yeah.
of a good relationship.
Yeah. I always like try to think of it as like if you don't want to be in front of them, standing at them, yelling at them, you want to be behind them and with them, pushing them the same direction. And how do you do that? It's not by, barking orders and you're not doing what I say. It's like, okay, I think truly like if my kids aren't doing things the right way, I'm like, okay, I didn't do a good job teaching this or I didn't explain this the right way because
Hmm.
it should be simple enough that they understand it and should be able to do it. So, and it's also, when you first start coaching, you're like, you want to win so bad. Everything needs to be a win for you, but that's just not the reality of life. You're going to go through these ups and downs and disappointments as a coach throughout your career too, where you're like, okay. And that's how you kind of find, I think, your rhythm as a coach and who consistently want to be because you can learn from things you didn't like that you did and move forward from there. So yeah, it's been a great process. And now, obviously I'm 26 now and I'm still coaching these guys, but I feel so much older and they all think I'm older. So it works out well because I don't have to like do that anymore. They all think I'm like 35, I think. So it works out well. Just grew the beard out. I used to not have a beard, so I look 15. I look like a player. And now I think I just grow the beard out a little bit longer, kind of like Jaden's, and then I get a little bit more respect.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's super cool. You mentioned all of the virtues outside of just basketball with coaching. Like we've talked about the life lessons that are involved. You get the platform to truly pour into those kids and make it bigger than a game. I think it's especially at those ages, you don't want the kids to be all ball all the time. I think it's a platform to let them know that there's more than just basketball. There's more to life. It's being coachable. It's respecting your elders. It's being a good teammate. And I think it's a really cool platform. And I think you and Brandon do a really good job of keeping what's important with kids.